We just watch and listen to what is said in RSCV between the fire and Ruben. Just watch and listen to what they had to say concerning what President Trump has said.
Yes,
let's say the truth.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect us. We are here to speak for people. That's why God put us here. Yeah. And God will ask us questions.
What we're saying is that it's not
that's just
Christians are being targeted. Muslims are also being targeted.
Yeah, this is the point
we have a country
Christians are killed.
in which we are all living in a pressure cooker situation.
Right.
The responsibility of government is to make this country safe for all of us. And that's why we say government needs to do more.
We
should desist from inflaming ethnic or religious passions.
And I think that's the right point. Desist from inflaming ethnic passions, like what the minister has said. Right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We're beginning what's trending in the United States, where Senator Ted Cruz has accused the Tinubu administration of being very unhappy with him for bringing the topic of the reported killings of Christian genocide in Nigeria to the forefront, including the proposed legislation to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Cruz made the comments on an episode of his podcast on Wednesday, with the senator saying that too many leaders in Nigeria have turned a blind eye to what is happening in the country. Let's take a look.
And as you know, I've been very vocal calling out the mass murder of Christians. Over 50,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009. Over 20,000 churches and schools have been destroyed, burned to the ground. And you have Boko Haram and other radical Islamic terrorist groups that are targeting and persecuting Christians in particular. And I will tell you, the government of Nigeria is very unhappy with me. They have decried my saying this. I have introduced legislation to designate them a country of special concern. And the government of Nigeria is very unhappy. And I've said, look, there are far too many government leaders who have turned a blind eye to what is happening, who have acquiesced in what is happening, who are enforcing either Sharia laws or blasphemy laws and facilitating the persecution of Christians. And as I said, the Nigerian government has been vigorously resisting me in this.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, spoke with CNN on Tuesday, accusing Ted Cruz of relying on inaccurate and misleading data to allege a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Idris said that such claims fail to reflect the complexity of the country's security challenges and warned that spreading such claims unknowingly supports criminals whose main aim is to stir religious tension. Let's take a look.
But some of the claims made by some officials in the United States based on faulty data. Some of them, some assumptions that the victims of this religious violence are largely Christian. Yes, there are Christians that have been attacked, but these criminals do not just target one religion. They target Christians. Yeah. They also target Muslims. We have seen that in several parts of, especially the northern part of the country. So yes, indeed, we have security challenges in Nigeria, but we also have to recognize that there is a massive drive by government to ensure that Nigeria is ultimately safe for everyone. But for the records, we want to say that Nigeria is a very tolerant country when it comes to religion. We don't want these dangerous narratives to go on because criminal elements and some of these extremists are driving this narrative and pushing people to believe that Nigerian Muslims and Christians are fighting each other. This is not the case.
All right, once again, Dr. Bati, we are seeing how this issue has grown to becoming one of global importance, that a senator seems to be following developments on this topic locally. The question now is how to address religious persecution in Nigeria. The minister is emphasizing that, characterizing the attacks as being against Christians alone will drive Nigeria towards unnecessary division, noting that, criminals want to portray the situation as a fight between Christians and Muslims. And that's about the most important soundbite I got from that interview with Mohammed Idris, talking about the fact that this idea of a Christian genocide is actually fueling the terrorists more. Your thoughts?
Okay, there's a disconnect in the global information world order. That's what it is called, whereby you have the Western media having a mindset about, what is categorized as the third world. And in the case of Nigeria, what sells in the American media will be to say, North versus South in Nigeria, Christians versus Muslims. This has been the trope over the years, and which is why we often commend the efforts of African-based media like Arise News in trying to tell the story of Africa from a different perspective, to say that it is not as bleak as the Western media tries to portray it. In other words, the problem is one of Boko Haram, as one of the commentators pointed out, of insurgency and banditry. And what government says is that it is continuing to deal with it. We were once placed on the Department of State's, U.S. Department of State's country of particular concern in terms of religious freedom. Now, at another time, we were reconsidered. We were removed from that list. But it looks like there are some people who are saying, look, Nigeria must go back onto that list of country of particular concern. When Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, the bishop of the Catholic Diocese, intervened in the matter, some people began to attack him, saying that, he was saying that, look, he lives in the heartland of Islamic religion,
yes,
Sokoto, and it's not as if Nigerians and Muslims are fighting themselves. But like other countries, we have these issues, and government is dealing with these issues. I think this narrative calls for a moment when we should be, patriotic and say that our country is not a country where Christians and Muslims are openly fighting.
All right.
But we have issues in terms of unity, in terms of the centrifugal forces, and, government just needs to wake up to its responsibility, because no country can survive a civil war twice. No country can survive a religious war.
All right.
And it should not be the objective for patriotic persons in this country to try to instigate and fuel that narrative to look for a blowout war between Christians and Muslims.
All right, they're asking us to go to the next story, but you're quickly.
Okay, real quickly. Nobody's saying that we don't love our country. We love our country, but loving our country also makes us to tell the truth. Oji, I said yesterday, a pastor in Kaduna came out to say a lot of people were killed. It was reported in the papers. This is not Ted Cruz reporting this.
No, we are reporting the killings.
This is what we
have been reporting
here.
Yes.
Oji, a child born in 2009, when all of this started, will be 16 getting ready for university today. We are sitting down here. Yes, we don't want our country to be put on country of concern list. But when will our government solve this problem, Oji? Is it because all of us here, none of us, our relatives have been killed?
Or even directly affected?
Maybe when people that are close to us are directly affected, we will know that it is time to speak up for these people. Oji, these killings must stop, and the government has done nothing about it. They've just been giving marching orders to the military, and it has increased. Look at bodies being buried. Look at pastors being threatened. So who are those threatening those pastors?
All right.
As regards Father Kuka, this is what I have against him. I can only say this today, and I'll stop. When Deborah was killed, and people raised eyebrow, what happened afterwards? Didn't people go on rampage and protest? Didn't they release those that killed Deborah? Didn't it lead to burning of churches and religious houses in Sokoto then? So why are we deceiving ourselves that these things don't happen?
Yes,
let's say the truth.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect us. We are here to speak for people. That's why God put us here.
Yeah.
And God will ask us questions.
What we're saying is that it's not
That's just
Christians are being targeted. Muslims are also being targeted.
Yeah, this is the point that
we have a country
Christians are killed,
in which we are all living in a pressure cooker situation.
Right.
The responsibility of government is to make this country safe for all of us.
Have they done
and
it?
that's why we say government needs to do more.
We
should desist from inflaming ethnic or religious passions.
And I think that's the right point. Desist from inflaming ethnic passions. Like what the minister has said, the fact that the terrorists are fueling this whole idea and continuing to benefit from the narrative that it's only a Christian genocide. Muslims are also being killed, and we have also seen mass graves of Christians being buried. Now, we have charged the federal government on this table to stop the killings. That's really all we're asking. Stop the killings.